moment. We're talking to you from the last steam engine train to run on the Maine Central Railroad, and it is just at this moment pulling out of Portland Union Station. We thought perhaps many of our listeners would like to hear some of those old familiar sounds, and as locomotive 470 makes her last trip. And of course, as you've heard in the course of our broadcast, there's a big crowd on hand for this occasion. Some maybe 900 people who have come on from all over everywhere in order to be aboard this final steam engine run on the Maine Central Railroad. There's quite a lot of color. There's certainly a tremendous amount of interest. I think everybody, despite the fact that most everyone expected a lot of interest, it's been overwhelming to see so many people out with cameras and people who just have come down to take a look, to be in on the last run of locomotive 470. Those familiar sounds that you're hearing, that's the sound of locomotive 470 as she pulls out of Portland Union Station. We're hoping perhaps that engineer Archie Toll will give us a first-class blast on that steam whistle as we pull out. We hope that people listening at home can hear that chug of locomotive 470 on her famous last ride. Of course, it's going to be quite a day. Many of you people listening to our broadcast will have the opportunity of seeing a locomotive 470 of the Maine Central Railroad on her way back. She will leave Bangor at sometime around 1:30 this afternoon and make the trip all the way back to Portland, so it gives many people here in the state of Maine the opportunity to get out and get a first-hand look, see it for themselves, and to take all the pictures that you might care to take. A wonderful record as a great era passes into history. The diesel locomotive has taken over, progress has gone on, and this particular steam engine will remain in Waterville after her final run today as a memorial to the steam engine. A great sound, huh? It's hard to imagine that familiar chug of a steam engine will never again be heard on the Maine Central Railroad. And as we've heard from Mr. Hendricks and many people on our broadcast, this is quite an event, especially to people who love railroads and the steam engine. This trip, of course, has been arranged primarily to honor the Iron Horse, and requests have poured into the railroad asking that arrangements be made to allow passengers to take the trip. And that, of course, is the basic reason for all this excitement and all the doings that are going on today. And the train, 12 cars long, is loaded with people. devote part of our broadcast to the sound of that steam engine as she rolls on her way to Bangor on her final trip, because the big story here today is not necessarily the people who have boarded the train, but locomotive 470 herself. And listen to her hum. You picked up the sound of that steam whistle as locomotive 470 hauls away toward Bangor. We're actually talking to you on our tape recording now from somewhere between Falmouth and Cumberland. And now it's our pleasure to talk to one of the gentlemen who has perhaps worked as hard as anyone else to make this day possible. He's certainly been busy with arrangements and the various and necessary things that had to be done in order for this locomotive 470 to haul the last steam engine on the Maine Central Railroad. It's our pleasure to talk next to Mr. George H. Hill, who is advertising and publicity manager for the Maine Central Railroad. Well, Mr. Hill, I imagine a great many things lie in back of this historic trip.
Yes, it's certainly a historic trip for the Maine Central Railroad, and it's a day that the officials of the road, of course, are very proud of. Under Spencer Miller, the president, this day has meant the culmination of 10 years of planning financially to spend about $10 million in new diesel equipment and passenger equipment. And today, the railroad at the completion of this trip will be 100% dieselized, and will take its place in the line with modern railroads throughout the country. We're very proud of Maine, and we're glad to give them a #1 railroad in absolute modern condition.
And we've been, in the course of the trip, George, actually been kind of filling ourselves up on the sound of that steam whistle, a project that I believe you folks at the Maine Central Railroad are working on in relation to the diesel, to create a sound with the diesel, which, of course, means progress and a superior type of transportation. But I do believe that you hope in time to be able to have something reminiscent of the steam whistle on the diesel, right?
That's right. We're going to have on the diesel locomotives throughout the Maine Central a 3-note chime whistle. We have them at the present time on some of the diesels. But the old single cow moo, as they call it, is going to disappear, and we will have a whistle that will be as near as possible to the steam whistle.
Well, Mr. Hill, how long have you been associated with railroading?
Not too long compared to some of the other officials. I've been with the railroad about 10 years. Oh, there wasn't a diesel locomotive on the road, and today we're passing steam after 92 years of the steam power era.
Yeah, it's almost unbelievable. I heard one of the fellows talking a little bit earlier about the fact that already on the Maine Central Railroad there is no place for an engine such as that to get water.
That's right. The local fire department are going to pump the water into the tender for the trip today. And I think another thing that would be of interest to the people of Maine, and that is the fact that this locomotive, which is one of our largest types, will be running along as a Modernizing railroad station as an all-time memorial for steam power. And when it is completed and put on the lawn, we welcome anyone coming on and having their pictures taken in front of it or inspecting the locomotive, and it will certainly be a historic piece.
It certainly sounds wonderful. I believe in the same vein, in the interest of history and preserving records of this particular trip. Of course, the cameramen are filled by the basketball. Everyone that owns a camera is either on the train or taking pictures as we roll through the countryside here. And I believe that you have instigated a contest for those people who are photography fans.
That's right. We thought it would be interesting where so many of them are taking pictures to give them something to shoot at. So we're giving a cup suitably inscribed and a government bond as a second prize to the winner, the man that makes, the person that makes the best photograph showing anything pertaining to this trip. Now, there's no pose barred on it. It's good for a professional or an amateur. Just go out and shoot, and the one that comes through with the best picture in the mind of the judges will be the winner.
Incidentally, our broadcast will be on the air before this train has completed its run, so anyone listening to the broadcast will have an opportunity this afternoon of catching a glimpse of Locomotive 470 on the return trip. Are there any rules if by any chance any of our listeners wanted to hustle in for last minute?
No, there's no rules whatever. It's absolutely open to everyone, and all they're going to do is get the picture and get it into the railroad by the 1st of July. Send it to the publicity department and make sure that their name is on the back of the photograph, and they should be at least 4 by 6 in size.
Well, Mr. Hill, it's been great talking to you. We certainly want to offer our heartiest congratulations to you and all the people who have worked with you, to the fine folks of the Maine Central Railroad, for a great day. And certainly all of us here in the state of Maine can appreciate the tremendous step forward that this has meant for transportation here in this part of the country.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ken.
And now we'd like to talk to another of the gentlemen who have worked hard to make this whole day possible. Is Mr. George McCallum, assistant publicity manager for the Maine Central Railroad. And George, this certainly is turning out to be a great day.
Isn't it, Ken? We're certainly enjoying it, and I believe everyone on the train is.
And I believe we're just in the beginning. There's a great deal more to take place before the day is done. And a real large afternoon. Many of the people listening to our broadcast will have plenty of opportunity to get in on that afternoon if they wish. How about giving us a rundown as to just what takes place for the rest of the day?
Yes, Ken. We'll be in Bangor for an hour and then leave there about 1:50 p.m. That's daylight time. We're going to stop at Newport Junction, Pittsfield, and Waterville. At Waterville, there'll be quite a ceremony. The Chamber of Commerce there has a band out, I believe, and a quartet and a speaker's platform where there'll be some suitable ceremonies during the 20-minute stop we're going to make there. Then we're coming on down to Augusta and have another 15-minute stop so everyone can come down and see the train. At Brunswick also, we'll get in there about 5:10 and stop until 5:25, and then we're going to be down back in Portland again at 6:10. And of course, it's quite fitting that there should be big ceremonies in Waterville because, if I'm not mistaken, the Maine Central Railroad began back in Waterville. Yes, it did, Ken. That's true. Just a few feet from where we plan to put the old 470 as a permanent memorial was the origin of the corporation known as the Maine Central Railroad many years ago.
And I talked to George Hill just a little bit earlier, and he was of the opinion that before the day was out, you'd probably have 1,000 people aboard the train, for either all or part of the run.
I shouldn't be a bit surprised, Ken, and we'd be tickled to death to have them, too.
And we certainly congratulate you and all of the people that have worked with you, George, for a wonderful day and a wonderful tribute to steam power, and of course, even more important than that, the keynote to the project, the advent of an all-diesel service. And even though the romance of the steam locomotive will be gone, progress does have to go on.
It certainly does. Time marches on, and so does the Maine Central Railroad.
And thanks for talking to us, George.
Thank you, Ken.
This tape-recorded broadcast has been brought to you by the WGAN Special Events Department. This has been Ken Long speaking, and it has been our pleasure to take part of the last ride of Locomotive 470 on the Maine Central Railroad. This has meant the passing of an era, and of course the beginning of a brand new era with all diesel service here in the state of Maine for the Maine Central Railroad. It's been quite a thrill, and of course many people are going to be on hand to enjoy the thrill throughout the day. And of course for many youngsters, we've seen all sorts of youngsters at various stations along the way, and many families are coming out to get a look at a steam locomotive. It's hard to believe, but perhaps there are many youngsters listening to us at the moment who have actually never seen a steam locomotive. This is a grand opportunity to see one of the finest in her class, Locomotive 470, as she makes her final run on the Maine Central Railroad. As we told you before, that run will be this afternoon. It will continue this afternoon, and the train arrives back in Portland at about 6:10. So if by any chance you and the family haven't made plans, plan to get near the Maine Central Railroad tracks and take a look at Locomotive 470 as she makes her last run. This broadcast has been slightly delayed, and a presentation of the WGAN Broadcasting System.